Okay, here's a very common problem. Today I'm going to show you how to hopefully repair a busted sprinkler. In any event, I'm going to attempt to fix this elbow, which has part of the solvent or part of the riser still broken off in there, which was solvent welded in. And I'm going to try to fix it the existing fitting versus digging out a big 12-inch round hole and cutting it off, putting coupler on, putting on a new fitting. I'm trying to take a shortcut here, so hopefully it works and I can show you how to do it. First and foremost, you can see that it broke off and it sheared off. So first and foremost, I'm going to level that broken off piece, which is this piece here. I'm going to try to make it flat, so it's basically flat and flush with the fitting, the elbow fitting that it has been glued into. You could cut it off with a hand tool or whatever, probably sand it down, what have you. I'm going to cheat. I have a Makita 4-inch grinder, and there's some water in there, so I got to be cautious about it, but that'll be the quickest way for me. I would recommend a handsaw though for anyone else. Okay, so you can better see what we have now. I've flattened it out as much as possible with the PVC elbow that it resides in. Basically what we're trying to do here, our issue is not the fact that we're trying to avoid replacing a very cheap 69-cent fitting. It's the labor that goes along with cutting it out the other way. You have to dig out about 12 inches wide. You need to figure out what fittings you need to replace it, and you're going to need to put in another piece of PVC pipe and a collar a lot of times, solvent weld everything, put it back together. If I can basically use this existing fitting and cut out the old fitting, or drill out in this case, we've saved a lot of time. And so that's the trick we're going to try to do. As you can see in this fitting, the one is glued into the other, and so what I've done is I've gone to Home Depot and I've bought a drill bit. What I'm going to be doing is hopefully slowly taking this drill bit, which is very close in diameter, and I'm going to essentially be drilling it into that hole. We obviously need to make sure we're careful and don't drill in too far, but basically we're trying to drill out the old material and then in turn glue in some new material. So that's kind of the theory here, and hopefully it works. Stay tuned. I'm actually going to start by using a smaller blade, and what I'm going to try to do is wallow it a bit and kind of clearance out the inside of the pipe and make it wider for my bit to drop in. At the same time, I'm trying to figure out how deep the fitting is actually, or the PVC pipe is glued in. There's going to be a lot of water because your water level is based on your sprinklers in your yard, what's in there. So obviously you should do everything with either hand tools, or in this case I'm using cordless drill, so that way I don't have a 110 extension cord connected to anything and dangling here where it can get water on it. So I make it a little bit wider here. That seems to be working pretty good. So that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to upgrade to the next bigger bit. So I'm going to go a little bit wider now and see how that works to continue to widen out that hole. Okay, I've put back in the 5/8 bit. Basically what I got to do is I got to knock down this inner lip so that way I can drop in my bigger blade. Now before I mount up the other blade, now I'm going to get smart and actually see if it fits in there. Almost. Okay, so it looks like now my wider blade will fit. Let's go ahead and try that now. Okay, now I'm going to drop in my 3/4 blade, and it drops. Basically, it's dropping in that collar just perfect. You still have the outer collar. We're essentially drilling out the inner PVC pipe that was solvent welded in, and so it's kind of like we're essentially machining the fitting. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm not in a hurry. I don't want to do it too fast. I don't want to cut through anything. Pull some of the debris out so you can see that essentially we're still not thick enough, or still have to drill out more material, but you can see how we're successful here and clearancing out this hole and making it bigger for the new fitting. So we aren't totally there yet, but it's working. At the same time, we don't want to go down too far and drill out through the bottom of the fitting. So far so good. Ultimately, I need to put in my 13/16 bit, so I'm going to do the same trick on the 3/4 bit. I'm going to wobble it around to make at least the top lip wider. Okay, I'm almost there. These bits have the screwdriver hex on the end, so they fall out now and then. Almost there. Alright, that's probably pretty good. It's close enough. Put in my other bit. See what we got here. Oh yeah, that's working great. Okay. Okay, so I think that's just about perfect there. We have a lot of debris in there, obviously. I've gone ahead and taken my old pipe and I've smoothed off the end, made it, flat. And let's go ahead and test fit it. Yeah, that's going to fit perfect. So here's basically what we're going to do from here. Is first and foremost, people, I'm a big fan of trying to be smarter than the materials, tools, and whatever you're working with. Now, if this was still a little bit wide, and I've done everything I can do with that fitting, let's go ahead and sand the sides down a little bit. That's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. That's the quickest and easiest way to do it. But in this case, looks like we have a pretty good fit. Now there's different types of solvent cement that you can work with. Some you can set up and work in moist conditions. Some do not. I'm going to look at the label on my material that solvent cement I'm working with. It's Christie's Red Hot Blue Glue. It's a medium setup point, but in any event, what I'm going to do is this is a pretty good trick. We have water in there. The water is always going to keep rising. Water always is level. And I have sprinklers across the backyard. And inevitably, if my cement can't work in moisture, I have to dry out that area. So I'm going to cheat. And what I'm going to do is I want to fire up my compressor. I'm going to put my compressor fitting down in here and basically blow air through my lines. What that's going to do is it's going to push out the water through some of the other sprinklers, so in turn it reduces my water level in my sprinkler line. So thus I then in theory have dry sprinkler pipes, so I can go ahead and glue in the fitting. Okay, so we're pretty good. Basically, our water in the pipe is not going to hurt anything. It's below our water line here, or below our fitting, so we can start gluing away. Okay, so kind of test fit it again here. I'm going to weld the shorter piece into there. It's going to go in about ½ an inch. So you need enough material. So in this case, you can weld on your other coupler. The other coupler is going to go in about ½ an inch too. Okay, I'm back, and I've gone ahead and bought 3 fittings. That is a weld-on end. For those of you who don't know it, the smooth side means it's kind of a solvent weld-on end, solvent welded, and that's the threaded inside. So that's the side that will be on the top, and I can thread my risers into. So I'm going to go ahead and goop this up and go ahead and weld it on. Or solvent welding. Okay, put it on. Or test fit it, twist it about halfway, and we're good to go. That's it. See what it looks like down in there. Everything's good. We'll let it dry.